How good was Emory Tate at chess, actually? Just a quick disclaimer, if you're under the age of 18, I recommend parental guidance for this video as you're about to witness intellectual torture, and I hope you enjoy. I'm going to show you just exactly how good Emory Tate was at chess in the following game that was played in 2001 in Philadelphia at the World Chess Open. Emory Tate is only a FIDE master in this game and is playing against a formidable Grandmaster who goes by the name Sergei Cruden. Sergei Cruden has the white pieces and Emory Tate has the black pieces. Let's get into it. So Emory Tate's opponent goes with e4. We now see c5 by Mr. Tate. So the Sicilian defense. We now see the move knight f3, and there's multiple ways for black to continue here. Moves like e6, d6, knight f6. However, in today's video, we see the move knight c6 by Emory, and this is known as the old Sicilian. So d4, cd4, knight d4, and Emory takes the chance to immediately kick this knight away with the move e5, and this is also known as the Lofenthal variation. So the white knight is being attacked. It could retreat to any square, but Emory Tate's opponent decides to put it on the most active square and plays knight b5. You may notice in a lot of Sicilians, the pawn is already on a6, especially in the Najdorf variation, and this is normally to stop the knight from coming to this b5 square, and we see the move d6, stopping this knight from coming to the d6 square. And now Tate's opponent decides to try and get some development in and plays the move bishop e3, developing his bishop. And now we see the move knight f3, developing while attacking this pawn. And now we see the move bishop g5, and after bishop g5, you can't take this pawn anymore as your queen hangs, and that would lose you the game. But what's funny about bishop g5 is this bishop's moved twice from e3 to g5, and you may be wondering, why would white do this? Well, this bishop is doing a very nice job here pinning this knight, and also notice if a move like h6 and you take here, then oops, you can blunder a4. So this move bishop g5 does have a bit of poise behind it. So after bishop g5, black noticed that this knight can maybe hop into c7, and it's also putting annoying pressure on this d6 square. So Emory simply asks the knight a question and says, where are you going after a6? But now instead of moving the knight, Tate's opponent plays bishop f6, and gf6 has to be played because if you take with the queen, then oops, you accidentally blunder a4. After a6, we see the move bishop f6, gf6, and after gf6, this knight is still being attacked by this pawn on a6, so retreats to the c3 square. We now see the move bishop e6. Emory is completing his development, maybe preparing to castle queenside, as if you castle kingside, your king will be very exposed as you've got this quite weak pawn structure. After knight c3, we just see the move bishop e6. Here white continues with knight d2, and Emory plays a very rare move here and decides to go rook g8. In over 57 games, this has only ever been played 3.5% of the time. This is a typical Emory move, as Emory has taken stock of the position and realized, okay, my pawns are kind of split, but I have this open g file in compensation, so if this bishop ever moves, then I can actually take this pawn on g2 as this bishop is defending this pawn, and if white ever decides to castle kingside, well, this rook is going to be an absolute cannon on this g8 square. So after rook g8, we actually see the move knight c4. So as you see, we kind of see the idea of this knight from coming from b8 to d2 to c4, as it puts nice pressure on this d6 pawn. And now Emory plays rook c8, so just aligning this rook along this very nice file. Notice it just takes one knight move and you're already attacking this knight, and is putting very nice pressure along this c file. And after rook c8, white hops into this d5 square, as now it is threatening this pawn, and this is really in black's camp, so Emory decides to eliminate it with bishop d5. ed5 attacking this knight, so this knight retreats to the e7 square, and I want you to keep this rook on the c file in mind as you see the next couple moves. After knight e7, the game gets interesting because Tate's opponent plays queen h5, which seems like a really techie move, attacking this pawn, and it just really looks really annoying. However, but there's a big downside to his queen h5 move, and there's only one move here, and Emory finds it that gives black a big advantage, and the move is b5. And after b5, it doesn't really matter where this knight goes, but it decides to go to this e3 square, so it's still defending this pawn on c2 and also defending this crucial d5 pawn. But now Emory plays a killer move and goes queen a5 check. King d1 was seen in the game, but if c3 was played, Emory could sacrifice the rook here and win a rook back himself, and he'd be up 2 pieces of material here. So for that reason, c3 is not played, and we just see the move king d1. Tate's opponent just wants to avoid complications. And now Tate keeps harassing the king and goes queen b4, just being a real nuisance here, threatening this pawn and threatening this check here. Tate's opponent gets greedy and goes queen h7, maybe also trying to keep an eye on this c2 square. Emory takes this pawn, rook c1 is pretty much forced. Emory cannot really take yet, as there's got a knight and a rook and a king and a queen defending it. Now Emory plays a absolute brilliant mastermind move and goes rook g6, and it has a very subtle idea behind it, was absolutely genius. So after rook g6, we see the move bishop d3, and you might be wondering, hasn't Emory just walked into white developing with tempo? As you see, in chess, you want to try to develop your pieces while attacking the others. This move makes sense as white can now almost castle now, and Emory can't take on g2, so you might just be thinking, okay, Emory just wasted a move here. As soon as I saw bishop d3, I just knew Emory wasn't moving nothing. That's simply just not how Emory Tate plays the game. If his pieces get attacked, he attacks back. So now we see the move e4. Am I wondering, what's this? So after bishop e6, we now see the move e4, and it's just an absolute crushing move. If this was taken, then we could see the move rook h6. Nasty, as this bishop covers the escape square, so that's why being greedy always fails. This queen has nowhere to go, and it is trapped, and white can just pack up their luggage and leave the hotel. If this bishop moves back to e2, then queen d4 check, wherever the king moves, followed by a nice rook h6, and this queen is lost. So after e4, white's in a big dilemma, because wherever he goes, he's getting crushed. So after e4, we see the move knight f4. So maybe white is trying to counterattack, looking at this pawn, but Emory goes, you know what, I don't care about that, and just takes here. Knight d3 check. Oh no, Emory's losing the exchange. King d7, knight c8, and now Emory is down 3 pieces of material here, so he has to pull off something special. And now he just plays star bishop move and goes bishop h6. Problem is, Tate's threatening this, and he's threatening this. Tate's opponent thinks he's Grandmaster, big potatoes, and goes f4. Does absolutely nothing. Bishop f4, threatening it. And after queen h3, we see the move king d8, and Tate's opponent, a formidable Soviet-born American Grandmaster, resigns. So to answer my question, Emory Tate was a class chess player. If you're interested in seeing any more of Emory Tate's games, I've got some right here. Have a good day.